Joining me right now is Lebenthal Global Advisors President Dominick Tavella. Also joining the conversation all morning long this morning is Fox Business's Dagan McDowell and Strategic Wealth Partners President and CEO Mark Tepper. Great to see everybody this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Dominick, what's your take on what's going on with the NASDAQ here? Really long losing streak as investors look for opportunities in transportation companies.
It really is all about what's been going on since about mid-February, Maria, and that is the rotation from these closed economy stocks to the open economy stocks, from large cap growth tech stocks to value stocks. So they had a spectacular earnings report these last couple of weeks. You look at Facebook and you look at what happened with Google and even Amazon and their cloud business. The numbers are off the charts, spectacular, yet the stocks and the sector has gone down. And it's just people taking profits from this sector and going to open economy stocks, and value, and we see it in the Dow, has done terrific. And I think we'll continue to do terrific the balance of the year.
So why sell tech? I mean, tech is under pressure, even as the economic expectations are on the rise. The April jobs report is out tomorrow morning, and we're expecting 978,000 jobs added to the economy last month. The unemployment rate is expected to drop to 5.8% now. We've got weekly jobless claims coming out this morning, of course, and those estimates call for 540,000 claims filed last week. Dominick, we've got an economy that is improving, and yet investors want to get out of tech.
Trim their positions, I think, is probably more accurate. If you look, especially last year, but you could look at almost an entire decade where this sector has just way outperformed. Last year, the tech sector's returns were spectacular. So if you have profits in those sectors, and we do, and most investors do, it's time to trim those positions. You don't want to get out of your Apples. You don't want to get out of your Googles, Alphabet, or Amazon, but you want to trim some of those profits and look to other sectors that way underperform. So last year, we know the large cap value sector, the closed economy stocks just were decimated. It's time to trim some of those profits and buy things that have not appreciated as much. And we talked about earlier interviews about the banking sector that was terrible last year, has done great so far this year, large cap dividend paying stocks. So it's really more about rotating your portfolio. You do not want to get completely out of large cap tech.
Well, I want to ask you about the big story of the morning, and that is President Biden is blowing off intellectual property rules. You might expect this rule to have been written by the Chinese Communist Party. The CCP has been stealing our intellectual property for decades, and now you've got the Biden administration agreeing to waive vaccine patent protections. These companies went through hoops to try to get us a vaccine in 10 months, and now the secrets to how they did it are going to be wide open. Why can't the rest of the world just get their vaccine from the American companies and Pfizer and BioNTech companies in order to come up with their own vaccines? Why must we blow off intellectual property rules? How bad is this for the drug sector, and who else is next that their intellectual property secrets will have to be shared?
Hopefully, but I think in the end, this is just a balloon being floated out there by the Biden administration. It is nothing short of outrageous. These companies have spent billions of dollars of their own money in research and development, and thank God, look at the outcome here, right? It saved this country. On the other hand, if you take that incentive away, if you take away their rights, then they will not do the R&D work for the future. There's no incentive for them to do it. So this is just an insane idea by the Biden administration. It is not well thought out, and I think in the end it's going to be shot down. But you cannot do this to companies that spend this time, effort, energy, money, capital, their own personal capital, and then take away their rights. We're a country of rights and property rights. You can't just take it away.
Well, obviously, Mark Tepper, jump in here. All the vaccine stocks are down as the administration announces that it will support this temporary waiver of intellectual property provisions so that developing nations can develop their vaccine based on the intellectual property that the vaccine makers have. Your thoughts on this? And what if technology stocks are next? What if, manufacturing companies are next? Are we just going to throw out intellectual property rules so that the world can share in on all the secrets of how they do things?
I think that's what this administration is shooting for. Obviously, they are pushing a very, very socialist agenda. And they're putting our own companies who've busted their butts trying to figure out how to get out in front of this virus. They're putting our own companies at a competitive disadvantage to other companies around the world. It completely blows my mind. Could it happen to tech next? Possibly. I mean, overall, when you look at the healthcare sector with the Affordable Care Act, they want to ramp that up. The entire healthcare sector just seems to be headed towards socialism, and that's not good. We need competition. We need to make sure that companies that do well make more money. Look, this whole vaccine thing to take care of a 100-year flood in this COVID pandemic, obviously everyone wanted to help. Everyone rolled up their shirt sleeves and got to work and did everything they could for the good of humanity. But you can't put these companies at a competitive disadvantage. It's not good for our country. It's not good for our economy. And it's definitely not good for these stock prices.
I mean, just like this administration fails to give the Trump administration the credit it deserves for warp speed, it's not giving the vaccine companies the credit that they deserve for coming up with this by sharing their intellectual property. This is a very, very dangerous move, and I'm questioning whether or not it was the CCP's idea. Dominick Tavella, great to see you. Thanks very much. We will keep following this important story.